compliments of the season, a very Merry Christmas and a most glorious New Year from all of us in NTA.
Everything is architected and designed by the Almighty.
Someone who is a Christian is someone who lives a life of Jesus Christ. And the life of Jesus Christ is a life of sacrifice.
Yes.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it.
This vaccine is safe and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFTA.
They've come from all around Africa and have been fighting hard to make the final cut. And here they are. The coming days are sure to be a tough challenge for some of these young men, but this opportunity can be life-changing.
So every day is a chance for you to prove if you are or not worth it of the opportunity.
Wannan labarin ma yana peji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin
labarin da ke gaban jarida shine ta bayyana cewa
ọkwa ojii kenga eziokwu
nwanne m nwoke
Ikechukwu Ndukwe Igbo mam
iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya
ọjọ́ léwútẹ́lú nù.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò.
invested significantly in the NDDC, we recognize that this outlay of resources must be justified.
President Buhari pledges recovery of mismanaged funds in the Niger Delta region.
Nigerian military task officers on strengthening operations in troubled zones across the country.
Five suspected drug traffickers meet their Waterloo as National Drug Law Enforcement Agency apprehends traffickers.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss transportation sector in 2021.
All right, we're still in the Yuletide season, Nadabo, and of course it came with so many gifts, including the one you had to open, the one contained in the boxes that you opened on the 26th, and of course the one that was extended from the 24th of December to January the 4th, 2022. And if you did enjoy that free train travels, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
That's respectedly, it was received with usual frenzy, Claire, as Nigerians grabbed the opportunity and traveled to celebrate with their loved ones.
Now, on the lips of many were accolades, as Nadabo says, and of course, expectations for more giant strides in the transportation sector, talking about Oliver Twist, and that's, of course, one of the cornerstones. The transportation sector, that is one of the cornerstones of, our national growth and development.
And in spite of the threat posed by COVID-19 pandemic, the Nigerian government rides on its success in this critical sector in the outgoing year, and the Buhari administration is not backing down in deepening infrastructure development.
Indeed, and as it started on a high note, especially with the signing of a contract for the construction of the Kano-Maradi rail line and delivered within the first quarter, of course, to be delivered. There were also two significant projects.
And this project, first of which is the $1.7 billion Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge, and the multi-million dollars Deep Blue project, that is. These are the ones that were delivered much earlier. The project was aimed at deepening security of the nation's international waterways and really checkmating activities of pirates in the Gulf of Guinea.
Now, with growing demand, the Abuja, Kaduna, Itakpe, Warri standard railway lines joined the list with their projection to connect all state capitals by rail before 2023, as contained in the 2025 master plan. That's a railway master plan.
And that's going to be a great feat, really. The maritime sector is equally receiving attention, with governments plan to acquire modern ferries and create more waterways channels.
Of course, an unprecedented humanitarian crisis, however, created difficulties for seafarers, that's in the maritime sector, but nonetheless, carriers managed to mitigate the shock and disruption. But port and landside operations found it much more difficult to adjust.
And these were precarious times indeed, but more challenging. And was the budget, the allocation of the budget, that is in 2022, 205 billion naira was appropriated to the Ministry of Transportation in 2021. But experts say Nigeria may need to rather have between 2 and 3 trillion naira to bridge the railway infrastructure gap in the country.
And the narrative might be gloomy, but the federal government, in no small measure, is prioritizing the transportation sector as the economic backbone to making the country a transportation hub in the sub-region.
In fact, it's been a bullish ride for the transport sector, and in a couple of hours, we will be ushered into 2022 clear. And the world may ask, what are the major high points for Nigeria in 2021? And what are the projections for the new year? and how can the government bridge the gap in delivering the needed change. This and more will form our conversation today on Good Morning Nigeria, being the last day in 2021 as we take a look at the transportation sector in the outgoing year. I'm Yusuf Nadabo.
I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak, and indeed it is a very important edition for us. Mind you, it's the end of the week, it's Friday, end of the week, it's Friday, end of the month, and it's also a Friday, end of the year. So you know what I'm talking about now. And we would like to thank every one of you who's made it a wonderful year for us. We are reaching you live on the network service of the NTA here in our studio in Abuja. We would also have a complimentary segment in the course of the program. For now, Ayo Makinde is here with us. Ayo, I'm tempted to also put you on the spot this morning because I know you are one of our, updated sports correspondents. Yesterday, on one of our programs, there was an interesting discussion on whether or not a foreign coach, is necessary at the moment. And I don't know, from your analysis, what are Nigerians saying, really?
Well, most Nigerians are divided when it comes to the appointment of Jose Pasero as the coach of the Super Eagles. But it's the decision of the Nigeria Football Federation, those saddled with the responsibility of administering football in the country. And at the moment, we just have to go with their decision at the moment. Good morning, Claire and Nadabo, and good morning, Nigeria. Here is the morning news. President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed to ensure that every kobo mismanaged or diverted during what he called the serial abuse of the Niger Delta Development Commission is recovered for use in service of the people in the region. Inaugurating the NDDC prototype hostel at the University of Uyo virtually, the president also said all those found culpable will face the law.
Will improve the living standards of the people. It is critical that not only I, but the people begin to rekindle our trust in this critical institution, which plays an important role in developing this region.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday received in audience former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the governor of Abia State, Okeze Ikpeazu, also came calling.
We like the redevelopment of the airport at Enugu, and we think that there must be a purpose for which the president allowed that redevelopment and investment in that airport, which, to my mind, is to create a gateway to the outside world from Enugu. That is one. Two, everybody knows about the second Niger bridge. That has never been done before, and we think that we need to encourage the president to complete that project quickly within his time.
With the global effects of COVID-19, which hits economies around the world and Nigeria not exempted, coupled with the insecurity it is grappling with, the country under President Muhammadu Buhari has recorded tremendous achievements in many sectors in 2021. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Lagos.
Our biggest challenge in the outgoing year has been in the area of security. Despite the enormity of the challenges, however, our military has continued to live up to their billing. The passage and signing into law of the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, is a landmark achievement. Many have described it as the most profound event in the Nigerian oil and gas space.
To security matters, the Nigerian military has tasked top brass of the armed forces on strengthening operations in troubled zones across the country in order to flush out remnants of insurgents and other criminal syndicates. This came to the fore during the official inauguration of new ranks to deserving military officers in the country.
You must all come together to develop an enduring solution that will completely defeat and bring peace these challenges to an end.
Please brace up because We must, at all costs, take away every form of insecurity in our land.
Police tactical operatives in collaboration with the military have rescued 10 persons, including a 1-year-old baby kidnapped by bandits at Gada district in Bungudu local government area of Zamfara state. The rescued victims were among unspecified number of people abducted by bandits when they invaded the community and killed 5 persons, including the district's head of the area, Umaru Bawan Allah. A statement issued by the Zamfara State Police Command's Public Relations Officer Shehu Muhammad says the joint tactical team, with the support of a vigilante group, was able to disperse the hoodlums and rescue the kidnapped victims unhurt. The statement says normalcy has been restored to the area with improved confidence patrol. In the meantime, the police tactical operatives have succeeded in arresting a 20-year-old infamous bandit, Sanni Mati, who allegedly has been terrorizing communities in Bruni Magaji, Shinkafi and Zermi local government areas of Zamfara state. 5 suspected drug traffickers have been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, with over 427 kilograms of illicit drugs. Among the suspects are 3 persons posing as security agents to escape scrutiny in Bama, Borno State and the Federal Capital Territory. Loads of cannabis sativa and tramadol capsules were recovered from them. Also arrested is a suspected bandit operating in Taraba State with 2 pistols and ammunition. And those are highlights of the news. The program continues with Claire and Nadabu after this break.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
Now everybody knows I'm the man.
Enjoy the reward that sharing brings with the Airtel Family Plan. Get bonus talk time, SMS, and data for each family member you share with. Dial *141# now. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA TV College, JOS, for the 2021-2022 2-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. Courses available for application include Film and Television Production, Broadcast Journalism, and Television Engineering Technology. Such candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects, including English language and mathematics. For inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. Management Announcer.
From the heart of the Federal Capital Territory
to the ancient city of Kano,
from the sprawling rooftops of Ibadan
to the bustling markets of Aba and the creeks of the Niger Delta, you really can't beat the reach.
Over the years, we have kept going, keeping you informed, educated, and entertained.
And how have we survived in the very challenging year?
Because of our pillars of support, namely the 3 tiers of government: ministries, departments, and agencies,
corporate bodies and advertisers,
religious bodies,
civil society groups,
political parties, and most importantly, you, our esteemed viewers. Together, we made 2021 great.
And together, we shall make 2022 greater. Thank you.
From all of us here at NTA, your season's greetings and a prosperous new year.
Compliment of the season, we want to thank you for your consistent support and patronage. And to you who may not have been patronizing Made in Nigeria, we can start today by building a relationship with Erisco Foods, like our numerous partners and customers who believe in eating healthy food and in the economic progress of our country. So we enjoy you to buy Erisco tomato paste and our other Made in Nigerian products. Join the following people, institutions, and others in promoting the proudly Nigerian dream. President Muhammad Buhari, the First Lady Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, NTA, Anglican Diocese of Amish, Catholic Diocese of Onitsha, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Winners Chapel, ShopRite, Next Cash and Carry, Spa Nigeria, Prince Banner Supermarket, Buka Hut. What about you? When you buy a Erisco product, you are supporting us to create more jobs. Be part of us today. Thank you. God bless you.
This is Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and the federal government has promised to take appropriate measures to improve access to foreign exchange for importation of raw materials and machines that are not locally available. Let's join Alika Okpanache Arwa for details of this and more.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the assurance while exchanging views with the leadership of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, said every effort at promoting a viral manufacturing sector in the country will be supported by his administration.
Our strategic plan to boost manufacturing activities in the country is on course. We are vigorously pursuing reforms on ease of doing business and currently putting in place necessary policy measures and incentives that will guarantee full recovery from the consequences of coronavirus, sustain economic development, and further shield the economy from the potential impact of fluctuations in the price of crude oil.
With business news, Alika Okpanachi, Arua.
Well, thank you, Alika, for the business package. Bayo Atebe is standing by for the newspaper review as we go in for the string. Now, let's get on.
And I'm very excited to welcome Bayo Atoyibi this very special Friday edition of Good Morning Nigeria. And you know why?
Thank you very much.
You know why?
Good morning.
It
Yes,
special.
the Friday, special
week.
special day of the week, end of the working week, end of the year.
End of the month.
End of the month too. Good. End of everything.
The ends are just in place.
Yes. Good
As
morning.
we welcome the new one. Good morning, Bayo.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you. Now, let's get started with the Nation newspaper and see what's therein. Can we have the Nation newspaper, please? Looking at it from the top above the masthead, we have these stories. Can to churches, that is, operate at 50% capacity. Operate at 50% capacity. Can tells churches. You get details of that on page 30. On page 28, new revenue formula ready for president of the rider RMAFC. Shield details. You want to get more? Go to page 28 of the Nation newspaper. And on page 28 still, Southeast deserves president in 2023, says Ikweazu. 27 on page 27, Sharia Council President Deti Ahmed is dead. Coming down a little under the masthead, we have electoral bill, National Assembly to delete direct primary. National Assembly to delete direct primary, page 28. This page is really loaded, as we also have on that same page Kaduna-Kano rail project to be ready by December 2022, says Amechi. To be ready by 2022, December 2022, says the Minister of Transportation. The main story on the page is brace for more challenges. CDS Irabo tells military. The writer is insecurity, greatest challenge, says Mohammed. And the second writer is Buhari will leave Nigeria safe and prosperous. Get details of that on page 4, not too far away. Buhari on NDDC audit, we will recover every stolen funds. And he says he rather orders IOCs to remit outstanding debts to commission. Details still on page 4. At the bottom of the page, rather at the foot of it, I must say, there are two stories. One is on page 7 and the other is on page 6. On page 7, appeal court locks out workers for lateness. And on page 6, fake security agents held. Clear?
Oh yes, Nigel, thank you. And let's quickly take a look at the blueprint, if we can have it right on the screen. And the lead story on the blueprint is military to counter threats ahead of 2023 polls. And I think about 3 riders to that story, if the camera can just tilt up a bit. Yes, 1,891 terrorists, bandits, others killed in 2021. 22,000 surrender, 696 arrested, 3,535 civilians rescued, 6,482 livestock recovered. And the last one is, of course, we find that mom on number of victims killed says $44 million anti-riot equipment expected from China. Now, those are the riders to the lead story on the front page of the blueprint. Federal government declares military to counter threats ahead of 2023 polls. And let's look at other stories now, just trending right above the nameplate. And we have Auditor General indict Senate, Rebs, and NAS cover 9.42 billion naira expenditure. And we also have other stories coming in from just on, well, bordering on health. Omicron Delta variants pose very high risk as cases surge globally. That's according to World Health Organization. We also have first turbine of 1.3 billion naira Zungeru power plant to be ready by January. That's been attributed to the manager of the project, I guess. And if we come down a bit, we also have stories on the front page on electoral bill, and it says NAS may drop direct primary clause attributed to Gbajabiamila. That story is directly below the lead story, and it comes with the riders too. Will pass bill return same to President Buhari, and overriding president's veto is Herculean. Details of that you'll find on page 6. Let's look at other stories again before we hand over to Bayo. NDDC audit will recover every kobo. Nadabo read that earlier on. It's also on the blueprint. Then the Auditor General indicts Senate Rebs. We've also said that. So, Bayo, take your pick.
Let's start with the NNDC story you mentioned. President has directed that the release of outstanding funds to the Niger Delta Development Commission, NNDC. It made so during the virtual commissioning of a hostel of 1,050 bed space for University of Uyo that has been built by the NNDC. It said the NNDC should be used for the service of the people. And instead, the hostel project had been abandoned for 17 years. He said it is regrettable that a special development fund that entire region was squandered by a few people for over a period of 20 years. If the billions of naira were judiciously used, the lives of people of the Niger Delta could have been better. Rather, they were squandered by a few and leaving very many in penury. He declared, apart from every kobo that is being recovered, those found culpable will face the law. The Minister of Niger Delta, St. Augustine Pabio, says forensic audit revealed that there were 17,000 projects that had been abandoned. The president directed that the forensic audit of the commission report will be released and all abandoned projects should be reviewed and completed accordingly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the National Assembly will revisit the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Speaker Gbajabiamila said there is a process. The Assembly will look at the reasons. If it is the decision of the National Assembly, if they determine that the reasons are not good enough, then there is a constitutional process to be followed. On the contrary, or we consider removing the clause and pass the bill so that we don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. The Speaker revealed that, in fact, he initiated the amendment for the good reasons that people should be allowed to participate in electing those who represent them, as opposed to a few people sitting in the four walls of a place and appointing persons to represent them. He clarified, it is not the decision of the Speaker to make. It is the decision of the entire National Assembly. He spoke at the commissioning of projects for his constituency in the Surulere area of Lagos. In Ghana, New Year prophecies or harm, danger, and death, and such orders that could create tension and panic have been prohibited by law. The Ghana police in the statement said that under Ghanaian law, it is a crime for a person to publish or reproduce a statement, rumor, report, which is likely to cause fear or alarm to the public or to disturb the public peace where the person has no evidence to prove that the statement or rumor reported is true. And it stated, we wish to caution all Ghanaians, especially religious groups, to be measured in their utterances, especially how they communicate prophecies, which may injure rights of others and public intention. The persons found guilty could be liable to a term of imprisonment for 5 years. The final story to look at is that Desmond Tutu will be laid to rest tomorrow. His body was brought in a coffin, a simple coffin as he requested, to the Cape Town Cathedral. Meanwhile, in Pretoria and Johannesburg, services were conducted as a matter of last respect. He is respected as a man who used religion to mend fences. He is quoted to have said, God that we worship is not Christian, nor a Jew, nor Muslim, nor Hindu. He used religion to mend fences for all people.
Bayo,
a great man.
It's really not our intention to stop you today.
A great man.
Not on a day like this. Not on a day like this. But we must give way to pay some commercial debts. I'm sure you don't want us to be indebted. Agreed. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Should I wish you a Happy New Year?
Yes, see you next year.
See you next year.
Yes.
All right, then, bye. Okay, this is Good Morning Nigeria, still on the network service. Don't go away. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we will look at an important sector.
That are involved in this kind of activities, and we've been able to also recover particularly arms and ammunition from those who are carrying it lawfully and disturbing the peace of the people. But generally, our morale in the Nigerian police is always guided by our commitment to do what we have sworn to do. Peace and security must be looked into as a priority by all. To look at security as the business of all of us.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest asset the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria, pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
The Nigerian aviation sector is rapidly growing with the construction of new international airport terminals in several regions of the country. The new Murtala Mohammed International Airport has an estimated passenger increase of 30 million annually and 15 million for Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is also expected to open new frontiers for the region with more travel capacity for the annual Hajj, while the new Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, avails more business opportunities connecting the industrial cities in the region to the world. These new terminals beat world-class standards with enabling infrastructure that aid air travel, tourism, and the eventual growth of the country's GDP.
Open up commerce and, of course, link us to international societies.
People from international community will come here to do business, and then that will bring in more revenue to the state.
Now, distances can be seamlessly covered as Nigeria keeps raising its bar to suit global infrastructure standards. Arise, O Nigerians! Let's applaud the courage of Flight Lieutenant Abayomi Dairo, aka the Aggressor, for his skillful and dogged escape from the bloodthirsty bandits in the forest of Zamfara State. 3 hearty cheers also to all military and security personnel who are tirelessly protecting fellow Nigerians from insurgency and banditry while maintaining peace and order. Nigerians are proud of Abayomi Dairo and all our gallant men and women in uniform for sacrificing so much to keep us safe. We admire your courage and we say thank you. God bless the armed forces. God bless Nigeria. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Well, it's still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA as a prompt for our conversation this morning, which is on transportation sector in 2021. Let's take this background report put together by our correspondent Ikene Indulue.
Over-reliance on road haulage in Nigeria for decades has arguably been responsible for dilapidation of roads, while truck movement of cargoes is considerably a major factor behind high cost of cargo clearance from Nigeria's ports. To bridge this gap, the federal government commenced capital projects on rail and water sector as a more effective alternative. The intensified efforts by the current administration seems to be changing the narrative with the completion and inauguration of the Abuja Metro Rail, Abuja-Kaduna Rail, Itape-Warri Rail, and Lagos-Ibadan Rail. Just yesterday, the Ministry of Transport embarked on inspection of ongoing work at Kano-Kaduna Rail modernization, as well as the University of Transportation, Daura. Despite the enormous efforts made so far in this sector, many believe a lot of ground still needs to be covered with construction of the Eastern Rail corridors. In the maritime sector, efforts have been intensified to change the narrative of Nigerian waters being the hotbed of piracy. Records show that between 2016 and 2019, Nigeria and other countries in the Gulf of Guinea lost $3 billion to sea robbers and pirates. In June this year, President Muhammadu Buhari launched the Deep Blue project in Lagos to secure Nigerian waters up to the Gulf of Guinea. The project has 3 categories of platforms to tackle maritime security on land, sea and air. As we wind up the year 2021 today, guests on Good Morning Nigeria shall be looking at highlights of the transport sector in year 2021 and agenda for the coming year.
Kene Ntalive there giving us a background into our conversation today, which is on transportation sector in 2021. And it is my honor to welcome the Honorable Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Rotimi Chibuike Amechi, to Good Morning Nigeria this special Friday. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning.
And we also like to welcome to our studios here, Mani Ochubogo. He's a friend of the house. He's a transport consultant, and he traveled all the way for this conversation today, and we really appreciate you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
And also joining us, via Zoom from Abuja is Roland Ocholi, Ataguru, that is Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Bethlehem Rail, a consultant, a member of the NRC and Bundling Committee. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. Don't know whether I got that name right.
Atagoba.
Atagoba, right. Welcome.
Thank you, and good morning.
Right. And also, here in the studio, we have Mani Ochubogo, transport consultant. Oh, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Now, let's get started and then see what justice we can make to the transportation sector right here in the year 2021. Honorable Minister, compliments of the season once again.
Same to you. Good morning.
In journalism, we always say we start with or rather we do it or go by it in an inverted pyramid, side, talking about the most important or the current or whatever issue at the top. The gift for the Yuletide season, it's on up to the 4th of, January. And that I always say is what Nigerians, must really appreciate in the sense of trying to have free ride and train, on all the gauges around the country up to that time where the government decided to give out millions of naira in, when quantified money-wise. That was great. I mean, what informed that as you try to now look back into 2021, beginning from January to date, this just coming at the end of the year?
I will become a seer, if I can answer that question. It's the president's directive. I think it's, people usually accuse the president that he has no empathy. How else can you show empathy to hundreds of thousands of people other than what he has just done now by directing that we provide free transportation through the railway for those who want to use rail transport during the season, not just the Christmas season and the New Year season. Even extended it up to the 4th. I remember the Permanent Secretary saying, why can't we do it up to the 2nd so that we can begin to collect our money from the 3rd? And I say, well, the directive from the federal government is that it should be up to the 4th. So we begin to collect revenue from the 5th. So more of the president, and my reading of the president's mind, if I should, would be that it's empathic. It's this issue of empathy to the ordinary Nigerians. But I know that the rich Nigerians also benefited from it. So
it's an open thing now, one must say, so everybody is entitled to that.
In fact, when they sent me the video of people standing and all that, and the rich men complaining, why can't it be done only those who are seated, so that nobody can stand? I said, well, a free thing is a free thing.
Okay, go ahead. I'll take another aspect. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just thinking about how so proud of it was on your table throughout the year, because you had a lot of things going. You had so many issues, so many, achievements looking at, the rail tracks you've got them on, talking about the Lagos-Ibadan, talking about the Kaduna Abuja and talking about Itaipur. These are all, positive things that are accomplished and achieved and delivered to the people. And these have been there for quite a while, talking about your 25-year, rail train project since 2002. We'll have 5 years to go now in that.
You have 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, for the 25 years?
Yes.
Oh, I won't be there now. So maybe, maybe
we're talking about assessing these rail field now, okay? So far, you've done all this. How was it being able to be accomplished, looking about the huge amount of trillions you require in order to turn around the transportation sector in this country?
We must credit it to a great extent to the president, his stubbornness, in the sense that if he had been listening to the elites of Nigeria, they were screaming, oh, you can't borrow money to do this infrastructure, you just have to, we wouldn't have been where we are today. It's because he just kept a deaf ear to them and then encouraged us to go for the cheapest fund that we can get. And so we raised funds from China to do the Lagos to Ibadan. We just, currently we're doing Kaduna Abuja from the budget. We're yet to get the loan. We're still negotiating with China. Hopefully that by next year, before March, we should be able to get the loan so that they could continue. Yesterday I was in Kano to see the extent of work. I couldn't get to Zaria and Kaduna because as they're working in Kano, they are simultaneously working in Zaria and they're working in Kaduna. The essence is because we want to make sure that they complete before the end of December next year so that the president can commission it before he leaves. We are working extremely hard to make sure that if the president decides to go by rail to his village, he could get to his village on the 29th of May 2023 unperturbed or hindered if he chooses to go by rail. We're also working extremely hard to make sure that by January, we start work on the Port Harcourt Maiduguri, which then will cover River State, part of River State, Aba in Abia, Umahia in Abia, Enugu in Enugu State. Hopefully, before March, we should be able to get the presidential approval to extend to Ebonyi and Anambra, that's Oka. Eventually, my wife comes from Oka. Maybe that will make her happy.
You just said you won't be here by the time the 25-year strategic plan elapses and all that. But if you look at the content of...
We would have exhausted it by the time,
exactly,
by the time we leave.
Exactly.
But you can't complete all. We would have commenced work.
Yes, I wanted to know what will be left
Nothing.
undone.
Nothing. Even in terms of operation, the only thing that, and I hope that we'll do before we leave, the bundling of
the
NRC by law. But if the National Assembly is not able to pass the law, we'll go to the Federal Executive Council and find a way to go around it, depending when the law is passed. So that we can unbundle NRC. We want to be able to create an NRC that can face operation. Then one in infrastructure, Infraco, a company whose responsibility it is to construct, maintain, right, and give out franchise on the operation of the infrastructure.
Okay,
so that...
Okay, sorry. We have seen in visible terms solid infrastructure that you've done, that your ministry has done. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And of course, there's a trending video that says if people ask you, why this administration is borrowing, points to the real sector and show what the borrowed money is being used for, which is quite true. But let's look at the projection for 2021 specifically. How much of what you set out to do has been achieved, and by what mileage?
When I've repeatedly said this, when Nigerians talk about borrowing, how much have we actually borrowed? It's too much noise. When you hear the Minister for Transport announce the federal government has awarded the contract of Lagos to Ibadan or Lagos to Calabar for 11.1 billion, doesn't mean that we borrow the money. Up to now, we're struggling to get the money for the Lagos to Calabar. We are struggling. We're negotiating with a Turkish company to join the Chinese company so we can get an European loan. We are negotiating with the Chinese company that is to construct Port Harcourt Maiduguri with an European bank to get European loan. We're still struggling. So we've not gotten all the money that people think we have gotten. No. What we have borrowed so far, I want to repeat, is $1.6 billion for Lagos, Ibadan. The remaining 1.4 billion, the 600 on it was paid by the federal government. 1.4 billion was what was borrowed. 600 million on it is funded directly by the budget. So you should even praise the president that he can raise that kind of money. 600 million is not what Nigeria can call granite. Let me just use that. It's huge expenditure. Like now, I told you about the funding, the one in Kano, Kaduna. Kano, Kaduna, there is no loan yet, and we have paid close to $400 million already. They have, when I got there yesterday, they have done soil formation for about 29 kilometers out of the 200 kilometers. And we're asking them to push that 29 kilometers in Kano. So hopefully that as they work in Zaria and all that, to be able to push it. By June, they should have finished with, they should be going towards the end of soil formation so that they can begin to see how to lay the tracks and all that. So when it comes to the issue of borrowing, vis-a-vis the work we've done, the thing you can tie to us is the $500 million that President Goodluck Jonathan's government borrowed for Abuja, Kaduna, and the $1.4 billion we borrowed for Lagos, Ibadan. We've gotten $300 million bridge financing for Kano Maradi, just 300 out of the 1.9. We are still negotiating for the remainder, which is about 5 or 6, to make up the 1.9 for Kano Maradi. So all this, they borrowed money, all that we have borrowed is not above $2.3 billion. That's not above that. So what have we done? We've achieved Lagos, Ibadan. We may not be making the kind of money we expect to be making there because we've not put enough trains. This December, they have been directed to put enough trains. And don't forget, in a bid to get us manufacturing our coaches and all that, the contract we gave them to purchase coaches and locomotives, we only said 15% should be constructed in China. The rest must be done here in Kajola. I don't know why I continue for Kajola. Now, that's one thing I will take me to Lagos next week. I want to see how far they have installed the infrastructure, the factory that will now be manufacturing those coaches and locomotives. I will go there to see for myself. So they are going to be producing there to enable them feed the Lagos and other areas. And so we will, by this December to January, increase the number of coaches and trains, and that will make us carry more passengers. So hopefully, before the end of first quarter, the Lagos Ibadan should be able to fund itself to free Kaduna Abuja. Where we have problem is the Warri Itabe. And the reason is because there is no connection between Warri Itabe to Abuja. If you do that, if you're not careful, it will be the most lucrative of all our rail lines, because people are able to approach Abuja directly from Warri. But currently, people are using it up to Itabe, then they pick a taxi.
Yes. Why are we not giving it more impetus in terms of, I know you talk about funding. Why are we not putting enough push, I'm sorry to say enough push, more push to get the funding to get that done, since we know it's a viable route?
No, the problem you have, you just think that the money is just there. When you go there, hey, China, how are you? Give us money, they give us money. Sorry, excuse me.
But it's not only China, sir.
Where else? We are talking with the Europeans. European loan is even more difficult. And I will tell you, and this is not a joke. I was in Portugal last week, Portugal and Germany, and it was ridiculous when those lenders were talking to me about scorpions in the north.
Scorpions?
Yes. We have to provide for the scorpions, we can't kill them. I just...
Oh, you can, okay. Under the animal...
I took a swipe on them and said, we eat scorpions. So you shouldn't be taking away our food from us. But see how difficult it is. The Chinese won't do that. The Chinese will keep to your laws. So when you borrow money from China, it's about economics. They will look at the environmental conditions based on your ESIA by Nigerian government. But here, the European money, we're doing our own ESIA in Nigeria, and we're going to comply with what they call international ESIA. I forgot the name they gave it. So it's not been easy to even conclude the deal for Kano Maradi, which is the first one that has been there. The second one that will go there will be the Port Harcourt Maiduguri.
That's the Eastern Red Line.
Yes, that's the second one that will go there. And that's $3.020 billion. And that will be worse because they will tell you to provide for monkeys. You have, in fact, that's when I knew that these people knew ancient history of the Hausas. So they were trying to remind me of those who were there before. Have we provided for them? We said, no, they have integrated into the current modern Hausa Fulani communities. You can't be asking me before the war, Ottoman Danfodio War, if they've been provided for another, we should not exterminate them and all that. They exist inside the community of the current Hausa Fulani enclave. So I can't be provided for people who don't exist but don't exist in their old conditions. So it won't be easy to even get these loans based on these environmental conditions. It won't be easy, but we're trying to meet the conditions. We're almost rounding off on the Kano Maradi and vigorously pursuing the Port Harcourt Maiduguri. But what we're doing in Port Harcourt Maiduguri is that we're going to be getting budget funding for them pending when we get the loan. So the work for Port Harcourt Maiduguri may likely start this January, at the same time as the one for Kano Maradi. And is the one for Lagos Calabar that I can't tell when it will start, but I'm sure before the end of the first quarter. But what we're doing is, while we are trying to meet the requirement of the ESIA, we're asking for what they call bridge financing. The bridge financing will allow you to start work pending when you get.
I don't know why you're still at funding. Some of your critics, critics, yes, you do. I mean, everyone has.
No, I didn't do that.
Yes, everyone has, Honorable Minister. You are, but there are people who think that that maybe they have better ideas. Yes, and that's what I would like you to speak to. They believe that, or they say that it's because we are concentrating probably on, yes, you've told us about the IEA, requirements, from other funders, that the minister is only looking at China. I don't know, maybe because of some
I will borrow money from Dangote if he has the money. I have no business with China. What's my business with China? I'm just looking for the man. I'm a Christian. The only person I won't borrow money from is Satan. Anybody you present to us today, I will go to the Federal Ministry of Finance and say, this man has money. You see, when Nigerians want to criticize you, they criticize you without enough information. One of the things I learned in the University of Port Harcourt, and when I was being schooled on what it requires to be a governor, is that half information is bad. In the University of Port Harcourt, they tell you that half education is the worst thing they can acquire on earth. What is half education? I give you a book to read. You read the first chapter. You assume that you know the remaining thing to the end. You don't know what the author has in mind. You have to finish it to the end to know what conclusions he must have come to. So when you criticize Amechi and say, oh, he's always going to China, when last did I go to China? First, the Chinese are not ready to give you money anymore. So you must go to the alternatives. And where are the alternatives? So we've gone to Europe. Now, as we're talking today, all that you can say we have gotten from Europe is $300 million. That's all we've gotten from Europe, $300 million, which we've not even accessed. And see how long it's taking us. But for the Chinese, the moment you conclude conversations with them and you present your ESIA report and evidence that you will pay back in 20 or 30 years or that, the money is yours. By now you will have started construction. But with the Europeans, you have to provide. I made a joke at them. I said, from the way people are talking, I have to go and excavate my grandfather's grave and bring him forward for people to see, to make sure that he's dead before people can give us this loan. It's a bit difficult to access that money there in Europe, but we're making all necessary arrangements to make sure we get it, because they have politicized railway construction. So you see, in fact, some people now say, to my village, even when your village is not on the railway network. So if I construct a rail now up to Kano, the person in Kano Namoda wants me to continue to his village, when indeed you can construct a road. That's why it's called intermodal. You can actually construct a road up to Kano and approach the rail from Kano. But now they want us to, because of politics, to take it to Kano Namoda or take it to, let's see, you are at Umahia. Where is it? okay, when they get to my hand, maybe not at Ibeku, they will say construct it into Ibeku to make sure it gets to, one day to get to my father's compound, not just to my village. It will be my...
Okay, Honorable Minister, really, we will talk about these loans much later in the program, because it seems as if what she's talking about, the critics may have a little point to make there, but when we come back, we look at that very well. Let's hear from Mani now. Give us your assessment as a consultant. Give us your assessment of transportation in 2021 against the background of what the minister said and what you must have known about this very sector.
2021 has been a very eventful year. The minister has covered most of the key, prominent and exciting projects. But I'll just touch one or two that he may not have mentioned.
All right.
One of them is the proposed Bonny Deep Sea Port. The proposed Bonny Deep Sea Port will bring an additional deep sea port to the eastern axis of Nigeria. And it will decongest Lagos. It will give Lagos a breathing, an opportunity to breathe, because Lagos is choking. And to reclaim Lagos, we need to start using our eastern seaports. So that, for me, is something very exciting, that Bonny will be getting a deep sea port. A second project relating to eastern seaports is the National Security Waterways Protection Infrastructure, or the deep sea. In your editorial, you mentioned the deep sea. The Deep Blue project. The Deep Blue project, incidentally, is one of the successes of the minister that doesn't get the applause I think he requires. Because a few days ago, at the International Maritime Organization, IMO, in their resolution, they mentioned the deep sea project at the international level. 3 years ago, when we were analyzing piracy in Africa and in the world, Nigeria was up there like number 1, number 2. But now it's gone right down. There's been a significant reduction in piracy and sea armed robbery in the Nigerian waterways and the Gulf region.
I hear people an average of 1 a day.
No, 1 a week now. When it used to be like 7, 8 in a day. So you see the significant reduction. It is significant. I mean, we've been critical of piracy in the Gulf region. I recall we even did a program here and the Navy had to come and try to counter it. But then, no, there was no credit to them then. But credit to them now. We raise our thumbs to them. There has been a significant reduction in piracy. And therefore, the eastern seaports are now more user-friendly. And it should encourage people to want to ship their goods through the eastern ports. A third project, which the minister didn't mention immediately, I know you mentioned other things, is the fact that the Nigerian Waterways Authority, NIWA, can now bring vessels to One and move those vessels and containers to Onitsha. And NIWA are proposing to ensure the opening of the Baru River Port. I'm excited about Baru and I'm excited about Onitsha. I think if we can utilize those river ports, as the Director General of NIWA is talking about, it will significantly boost our waterway economy.
What happened? What had happened to this?
What happened is we have 2 significant river ports, fully constructed. Fully, everything turnkey. You only just need to turn the key and the ports are working. In Onitsha and in Baru, that are lying dormant, redundant. Baru will serve the entire northern region, particularly northwest. Even serve Abuja as a river port. Baru is fully set. The minister has commissioned it, everything the president commissioned it, but it is not working. And little things like the governor constructing the road and other little things are what is holding Baru down. And Baru should not be redundant. In the whole north, we don't have a seaport. And the only one we have in the north is non-functional. I mean, that is an aberration that I'm sure the minister will deal with. So for me, I'm excited that it will soon be functional. Onitsha have started functioning slowly. Baru will soon become functional. And we would like to hold the minister to that so that we get Baru working. So that for me is exciting. Another exciting project about 2021, which the minister have already mentioned, is the narrow gauge, the rehabilitation and the reconstruction of the narrow gauge from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. I have a personal interest in that line because it passes through my hometown. It passes through Otukpo. And I recall doing my A-levels in Maiduguri. I just sit down from Otukpo. You just wake up here in Maiduguri. And it was exciting that time when you are doing your A-levels. You can pay very little money, rebate, and you are in Maiduguri. Without that rail, I may not have completed my A-levels. So I have that exciting, passionate attachment to that narrow gauge. Besides the fact that I had small opportunity to work on it as a consultant. So it's something that we need to revisit. It's something that the minister has started working on. And I think it's imperative.
And these are operational.
Operational. Rehabilitation and reconstruction of the Eastern narrow gauge rail line. It's important we do it because there's this narrative about neglect and marginalization that is wrongfully presented. That rail line is the longest rail line we have in Nigeria. Yeah. It's about 2,044 kilometers, the longest single rail line we have in Nigeria. And it connects so many communities, so many states, all the way from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. I think it is a project that the minister have started, and he should please follow it through and get it done. And it will also dispel that negative narrative. Oh, Eastern Axis is neglected, Benue is neglected, Bauchi, Gombe is neglected. No place is neglected. We can get that done. Lastly, one exciting project. Lastly, the industrial park proposed for Port Harcourt. I think the industrial park is something, again, that there seems to be some silence about it. We don't seem to give that project the recognition, the applause that it requires. The industrial park will be situated in Port Harcourt. And I think it will open up Port Harcourt not just to engineering, to telecommunication and rail works, to fittings, to railway engineering. It will also connect Port Harcourt to the entire country, in terms of railway engineering, railway works, and railway services. And also the opportunity for it to grow and promote. I think it's a project that we should continue to focus on and not to take our eyes on it. Even if the minister comes from Port Harcourt, I think it can still be done without the pettiness and the politicization of the project. That's just a few contributions for now.
Oh, that's great, really. Thank you so much, Manny. Roland, let's hear from you what your views would be about 2021, the transportation sector, and how it fared. What's your critique?
Yes, good morning, and thank you for your question. Well, 2021 has been another COVID year. The world has been on tentacles, hoping that we would find a resolution. And this has negatively impacted the pace of work. And I speak specifically to the rail sector in transportation. There's so much that should have or could have been accomplished that is pending, still on hold. Particularly, we've had the promise of Ibadan to Kano. Now, there's no clarity as to when that would happen. And Lagos to Ibadan is a short line. We need rail to go all the way, at least to Abuja, and then on to Kano, for it to make business sense. There's a lot of talk about viability of railway, but the reality is it needs to go beyond 600 kilometers for it to be viable. We seem to be focusing too much on the passenger side of the business. Well, perhaps because passengers are voters. But where freight comes into its own is in freight. and we're not doing much of that. And this is a fundamental weakness in our strategy going forward. And lots of talk about a lot of other projects. I think when the current government came in 2014, we inherited a Lagos-Calabar coastal rail contract. That contract is still on the table. We haven't started it. There's been lots of promises of it taking off. It hasn't line. Contract was 2014 to 2018 or thereabouts contract. So we should have a completed line functioning. But really, the very significant line, which we don't seem
It seems we have an issue there with the, connection with Roland Ochole Taguba there. We'll get back to him whenever that is sorted out. Honorable Minister, let's come back to you and then see what justice you would make to Mani Ochuboju's, interrogation talking about the river ports and then their viability, them being turned the key alone, and then having to make them really viable. I don't know. Nigerians have been waiting for this since the president, got that inaugurated. A lot, especially in the north, the euphoria has been up and high and very much to the rooftops. And all of a sudden, over the months, it came down, and it's even winding down until we hear such now from people like Mania and some other people, concerned authorities in the industry. What would you say to this?
I've learned how to be a politician, so I would choose not to answer that question. The reason why I say that is I was taught in my Catholic church to always be honest and truthful. So I don't cherish lies. But I will answer that it is left for NIWA. They are in the process of getting, and that is honest, they're in the process of getting a concessionaire who will manage the river port in Baru. We are almost, honestly, the bureaucratic, that's why it's good to be a governor. The bureaucratic process at the federal level is too much. By now, we should have finished with who will manage Onitsha River Port. Most at the end, they had to, in fact, they were waiting to travel to Belgium because the Nigerian partner had a Belgian partner that we needed to do due diligence. And I said, for Christ's sake, you can't get visa because of COVID, so do it by Zoom. They can show you the man's assets, they can show you the seaport he's managing and all that, and give us the due diligence report. So we are now at the verge of going to Cabinet for an approval for the concession for Onitsha.
All right.
The one of Baru River Port is still in the process. It's not even gotten. If this one of Onitsha took us 5 to 6 years, we started on that good luck, Jonathan, through the World Bank. And we petitions, maybe it won't be the same with Baru because the one of Onitsha, petitions, interest groups, everybody fighting, going to court, coming back from court, going to National Assembly, all that. But we're almost at the end. So hopefully that before the end of first or second quarter of this year, of next year, we should be able to have gotten the approval from the cabinet to the concessionaire and handover. If what we're looking for is generally the achievement in the transport sector, quite a lot. Even the ICTN we're about to achieve. One man from Anambra also, with some people from Kaduna, are busy sponsoring reports here and there against the ICTN with heavy interest, compromising the system.
What's the ICTN?
ICTN is a cargo tracking. In fact, the initial report they sent to the press was that the company we eventually chose is a company that deals with medical equipment, just because they saw MedTech, Mediterranean Technology, an Italian-based company. The guy from Anambra is a bit desperate, up to approaching my wife. Now they have
probably doesn't have enough information, because if you listen to Roland is also talking about not giving adequate attention to the issue of cargo,
Well, coming to that, then up to approaching my wife, up to now getting one young man to go to court in the name of civil society. So but that we intend to achieve this year. We intend to get that sorted out and get done with. We won't allow one man who has business interests and threatening all that. And the next time I go to the press, I'll call his name. I'll call his name and his and all that. Let him go to court because I will show evidence of he sat with me, he approached me, the offers he made. He sat with my wife and made offers. Just because we said no, there's a due process, which is a compliance with the law and all that. Then when it comes to the seaports, the first seaport in Nigeria will be built under this government. What you have is actually river ports, what you call seaports. And I've had this conversation with the Minister for Works. The Apapa port tees off the ocean to a river. The same with Tinkan, tees off the ocean. The same with Onne, the same with Port Harcourt, the same with Warri. They are not seaports. The first seaport we built by this government, and it's called Lekki Deep Seaport. 16 to 17 meters deep. There is none like that in Nigeria. The highest you have is about 11 or 12 meters. Okay. And vessels are no longer, all those vessels are being, they're no longer using them. They're not, so you see a situation where every day I'm signing documents to say, go to the high sea and transfer. So they take these smaller vessels to the high sea and transfer cargoes to bring into Nigeria. So, but now with the Lekki Deep Seaport, which will be completed next year, latest September, by October, November next year, it will be put into commercial use. But that's by us, started by us. We travel to China, travel to Singapore just to get the loans, the company to sign off. And this PPP, federal government has put no investment in it, apart from the 2.5 or 5% equity we took. Lagos State government has 20% equity. Then what you have is a Chinese company with their own investment, their own money, putting cash and constructing. They will conclude that construction by September, October next year. That will be concluded by us. I listened to the gentleman who was talking about Lagos Calabar not taking off. The contract was awarded and the contract expired by 2017 or 18. It had expired. We had to renew the contract. Now, we are at the point of negotiating a loan. Unlike last time, we were just there. Now we are negotiating a loan. We are negotiating with a company. We tend to break the thing into two, the contract into two. Part of it to go to a company in Turkey who is sourcing the $11 billion. What everybody must know is that in the past, even from Obasanjo's government, we could have raised $36 billion to complete all these projects. But now you can't. The money is just not there. And it's not due to mismanagement. Paucity of fund is as a result of the fact that the oil revenue, because our economy is dependent on oil revenue, is just no longer there. The revenue, by the time we took over, oil was sold at $28 per barrel. I hear my critics say, oh, they left money in the foreign reserve. Foreign reserve is not your money. So if you take 5.2 billion, they say they left, and 2.2 billion, they say screwed account, it just simply means that we don't have money to fight the war for 3 weeks. Like I said earlier, it's just not there. So if you calculate what Osita Chidoka said, $7.4 billion is what they left, because SS screwed fund is not your money, it's CBN money. It's not the federal government money. $7.2 billion cannot sustain this country. So we didn't have money. We don't have money to run these projects we are running. That's what leading to us borrowing money. Previous governments had money. If they, with all the brilliance of the Obasanjo's government initiating this plan, which is like more or less like a feasibility study, which is best that they could have done, but they would have continued with an award of contract and construction. What the current government is doing now is that we are constructing, like we said, almost by the time we leave, everything in that 25-year plan would have been on the table, because the contracts have been awarded. We are sourcing the funds. Once we get the funds, we move on.
Honorable Minister, I was trying to, cut you short earlier on talking about, when you talk about loans, and we look at how these loans have been serviced, and we look at what the loans were being used for. Barrow is already ready, and then...
Barrow was not a loan?
No, I'm not talking about loan per se, but looking at loans vis-a-vis inflow of internally generated revenue. Baro is a viable area. The other
why not
place,
you help me? I've tried to jump Baro. It will bring me back to Baro. He's very politically sensitive. So I prefer not to go there because I won't lie to you about Baro.
Yeah.
I would lie to you.
But still talking about the loans, when you look at the loans and look at the, how to source money from inside, entirely generated revenue, apart from the oil.
Railway loans, railway construction is not road construction. With 100 billion naira, you can construct road from here to, 150 billion, you can construct road from here to Kano. But Kano to Kaduna is about $2 billion. I didn't say $2 billion naira, $2 billion. $2 billion is 1 trillion naira. So when people say railway construction, they save money from the money they seize from Abuja, how much is that? Lagos Calabar is $11.1 billion. That's close to 3 to 4 to 5 trillion naira. You get the point? Now, we're even rehabilitating the railway to Baro. It's been approved by cabinet. It's in the budget. We've awarded the contract, but we've not gone to cabinet. We're going to cabinet in the next 1 to 2 weeks to get final approval from cabinet. The moment cabinet approves it, the contractor will go to site, right, to rehabilitate the narrow gauge that goes to Baro to make it more viable. So once we rehabilitate that narrow gauge that goes to Baro, it means that anybody who imports through Baro can take it by narrow gauge up to Kano.
Okay.
Up to Kano and Amoda, because we're actually trying to rehabilitate all those small linkages. So when it comes to viabilities of this, I like what the gentleman said earlier. Nigerians think that railway transportation is passenger dependent. No. How much do passengers bring? 300 million naira a month. What is that? The money is in cargoes. And Nigerians must manufacture, because the essence of Buhari's government, President Buhari, in constructing railway, is not for popularity's sake. He promised you that he will build an economy. It is to make sure that the logistics, he cannot grow an economy without logistics. Dangote cement and is spoiling the roads. They are all the trucks are spoiling the roads. The moment the rails go everywhere, then those people will no longer use the roads, because there will be a law to determine what weight can go on any road. If your weight is above that weight, you just go to the train. So if I buy from Abuja and there's a rail from Abuja to Port Harcourt, all they will do is drop it on the track, and the next, not days, 4 or 5 hours, you will see it in Port Harcourt. Now, it takes us 14 days to transport one locomotive or a coach from Lagos to Abuja. But if we had finished Lagos to Abuja, it would take you 6 to 8 hours. I didn't say 6 days, 6 to 8. Imagine what you would have saved out of 14 days. You'd have saved 13 days plus. Then in that 14 days, the drivers feed, they sleep in hotels, the danger of security expenditures are all there. So the reason for this railway construction is not because Buhari wants to be popular. It's because he's looked at the economic benefits, what the future holds for Nigeria when Nigeria becomes a manufacturing country. For now, we are consuming. But hopefully that as we continue to progress, people will begin to manufacture. Take the Dangote refinery, for instance. When they start, if we link railway from Apapa to Lekki, all you need to do is buy your fuel and put it on the track. And it will go to any part of the north, south, east, southwest, south, any part you want to go. If we do that, that's what we would have done a long time. We are doing it now.
And you're racing against time.
Exactly.
You can see that.
And there's no fund.
Honourable Minister, I want to look at the sustainability of what we even have on ground. Because there have been times when passengers, rail passengers have been stranded, either because they don't have enough, locomotives or whatever, the trains. The train itself, nothing, or maybe some have broken down because of parts, and we do not have the parts available here. We do not even have the hands. What is the situation at the moment?
I remember the last time we bought these spare parts, the rolling stocks. It should be like 5 years ago. So when people start complaining that, oh, the Abuja Kaduna rail was breaking down, I said, look, you've used this thing for nearly how many years? From 2016 till now, they will certainly break down. Now, the president has approved that we should buy rolling stocks for both Kano Maradi, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, even though we've not included Lagos Calabar, but we'll make a memo for that too. Now, he has approved that. The implication is that once the cabinet approves it, I don't know whether we've passed through BPP. Once BPP approves it and cabinet approves, we'll then again look for the loan because they're like $2 to $3 billion. Then you buy all of them and keep here and use them for the next 5 to 6 to 10 years. So when you talk about sustainability, those things will be there once we get the loan to buy them. It is for the next government when they come at the end of the consumption to buy more. But we are not going that way alone. We are going into, look, you just can't come here and dump your technology. Cajula will be essential so that some of them will be produced here in the country. The ones that can be produced here, we can then be buying from outside. So we're making sure that we provide the opportunity for Nigerians to begin to manufacture for themselves what they use to maintain the railway. And that's why we are establishing the university in Ubima and the university in Daura to train Nigeria. The industrial park too is also going to afford us the opportunity of inviting investors to come and establish at the industrial park.
Okay, let me take my question to Mr. Ataguba, and I know that we've been having issues with our connection with you. Do you see what we have on ground now sustainable? And I look at sustainability from the perspective of technology variation, so that we do not find ourselves, in the same history as the narrow gauge, where it's taken us quite a long time, to modernize and rehabilitate.
Thank you. And a very, very good question at that. I think the minister has also, and let me apologize first for the connectivity issues. I'm in the village, and we seem to be having some problems with the telecommunications with the studio. Sustainability, big word. But the reality is, unless the political issues are resolved, a lot of the industrial questions will arise. The minister touched on it earlier when he talked about the next government. If there's no consistency in policy implementation between this government and the next government, then of course you'd have a disconnect and imperiled. And so it is imperative that there is an end. Now, one thing you can say for this government is the fact that the projects that they have inherited, they have doggedly pursued. Well, say Lagos Calabar, in which quite clearly there are issues with conception, which has dovetailed into implementation problems, because you sign a contract without clarity of how you're going to fund it, then you've got a problem delivering it. And that's what's dogged that project since its conception. You can't blame this government for that. They inherited it and are trying to push that ball down the road. But in terms of sustainability of railway, it's down to the operations. And until you bring the private sector into operations, you're going to struggle, because the government-run railways has not delivered in over 60 years. It's not going to start doing so now. But there are synergies that are possible between private and public sector working together. And that is one of the objectives of what they call these rather unfriendly word called unbundling, which is indeed a restructuring of the railway environment. And it's something that's at the heart of the 25-year vision. It's just a shame we didn't start it earlier. but we've got to make haste while the sun shines. So coming back to your question, sustainability will depend on who comes in next. And he'll need to carry the torch where the minister's handing it over.
I'm not sure people heard him well. He's just saying that people should vote for APC next time. Yes, if you want it sustained,
yeah,
because there cannot be a government like Buhari's government. Honestly, why I say there cannot be a government like Buhari's government is that how dare you, a president, summon us and say, go and complete all the projects that were started by the next government. We don't want to start any new project. No, many governments would say that. They will say, it was government of Obasanjo, it was a good loss government. In fact, we acknowledge the construction of Abuja, Kaduna to President Goodluck Jonathan. We said we made just 20%, and we completed the 20% and commercialized this thing. There can't be any government like that. That's the point he's talking about sustainability.
Honorable Minister, when you look at that could be the beginning of good governance, really, in this country. And they're moving it on through that.
That's because the presidents are political. If the president was a good politician, he would not go that way. Most Nigerian politicians, I didn't say all, some Nigerian politicians are myopic. They just want to be recognized for, look, I did this. That's why I say everybody is building airports. You get the point? Because most airports are not viable. They are not necessary. We have to do airports. I was once minister in charge of aviation too. The most viable airports in Nigeria are not more than 6 to 7 out of the 22. But you see, people are constructing so that they can attach it to their names. In the same manner, if Buhari was a politician, he would probably not have gone the way we went. Right? He would have allowed the contracts that we met. He said, no, don't even cancel. Continue with the contractor. What we should do is implement the process. So if you have a government that is not continuing from where this government stopped, then you have a problem. That sustainability question you ask is highly political. That's what he's saying. So for Nigerians to sustain what Buhari has done in infrastructure, the first thing to do is to acknowledge that he's done well when it comes to infrastructure. The second thing to do is to ensure that you vote for a government that will continue from where he stopped. And that government cannot be in PDP. But again, it's not by election.
Every time will tell, really. I'm a little bit interested in this Deep Blue project. It's about 195 million naira project, which of course has been delivered. That has been delivered. And looking at the position of Nigeria, in terms of crimes, on the seas and the rest of them along the Gulf region, it's been really a bad shape in that regard since. But having come up, as Mani said, we've now gotten lessened crimes, kidnaps, piracy, and things like that. Honorable Minister, this is a big feat, and you've saved a lot in this regard, talking about what we have been losing as a country in that, area. Let's link it to the sustainability issue here again, and let's see how far we can go and what this government is doing about it.
You see, that is the other project I like to claim to my name. I don't like when people say, oh, Minister, you're doing well. No, it is Buhari. I'm just an agent of Buhari. But that project, why I like to claim it to my name is that it got so bad that the president set up about 3 committees to investigate me.
Okay.
You see, the rent culture in our economy is predominantly in the water. They want insecurity so that they can be making money, supplying vessels to an MPC, oil companies, and then they'll be making money. Now, when we got there, as a former governor of Rivers State, I know all this. So when we got there, we felt, no, the Nigerian government should be able to provide the security. So the first battle was with a company that, on its own, went and set up an anchorage in the water. An anchorage is like a park, a motor park. So any vessel coming into Lagos will park there first. For every day, the first day you come, they collect $2,500. Then subsequently, they collect $1,500. They delay you for nearly 30 days. So from each vessel, they are collecting about $45,000 in 30 days. Imagine the number of vessels that they keep there. So in a year, they make up to $100 million and all that, and they were making money illegally. And then when I challenged them, they told the government, oh, Amechi is the owner of the $195 million contract. That's why he wants to stop us. So EFCC was sent after me. They set up a committee headed by the president, and that committee headed by the Minister for Defense, all because of this project. And the project is not as successful as people think. The military needs to do more than they're doing now, because when I'm not seeing the aircraft that we bought flying. We need to see the aircraft flying across the water. I'm not seeing it. we bought aircraft, we bought helicopters. They are all carrying cameras. If they implement the Deep Blue Sea project according to how we thought about it, then you won't even see pirates, you won't even see oil theft. The reason why the oil theft is going on is that the Deep Blue project is not properly implemented for now. We intend to meet to look at its implementation and all that, and ensure that it is properly implemented. So what it does is that it saves Nigeria money.
Yeah.
Now, because of all that that's happening in the water, the insurance Nigeria pays for vessels coming here is what is referred to as war premium. So if a vessel is going to Ghana, if he's paying 10,000 naira, the vessel coming to Nigeria will be paying 15 or 20 because it's assumed that Nigeria is in a war situation. So the reason for introducing that project is to, we'll get back to IMO to say, oh, no, security situation in Nigerian water has improved. So please kindly remove the war insurance so that vessels coming to Nigeria, the cost of vessels coming to Nigeria will reduce. All that is done for the ordinary Nigerians. But the Nigerian elite don't care. They don't care about Nigerians.
Permit me to put you on hold for a moment. We must take a commercial break at this point. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We'll be right back.
Compliment of the season, we want to thank you for your consistent support and patronage. And to you who may not have been patronizing Made in Nigeria, we can start today by building a relationship with Erisco Foods, like our numerous partners and customers who believe in eating healthy food and in the economic progress of our country. So we enjoy you to buy Erisco tomato paste and our other Made in Nigerian products. Join the following people, institutions, and others in promoting the proudly Nigerian dream. President Muhammad Buhari, the First Lady Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, NTA, Anglican Diocese of Amish, Catholic Diocese of Onitsha, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Winners Chapel, ShopRite,
Next Cash and Carry,
Spa Nigeria, Prince Ebano Supermarket, Buka Hut. What about you? When you buy a Erisco product, you are supporting us to create more jobs. Be part of us today. Thank you. God bless you.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network, the construction of a 1.6-kilometer long second Niger bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger Bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
Finally, the hero of Nigeria's democracy has arrived. He shall usher us into a new phase of development, peace, and prosperity. He is the father of the new Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Welcome to another season of giving Nigerians hope yet again. We are sure of a great future for both ourselves and generations yet unborn. We look forward to your leading us as a nation into our manifest destiny. Though the challenges against us as a people are many, we know that your leadership shall set us on the right path to our greatness. A new dawn beckons on us all, and having you as our president is a precursor to this. Thank you for believing in Nigeria. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
We are all Nigerians.
Nigerians. Against all odds, we shall and must remain united. We may have our challenges, our problems, and setbacks. However, together we shall overcome them all. What doesn't break us shall make us stronger. This is the mindset that shall bring peace, progress, and prosperity to our beloved country. Do not let tribal and religious sentiments govern how you think, act, or feel. Don't be influenced by those who want to destroy our precious national unity. Everybody who's a Nigerian is your brother and your sister. This is the mindset of the new Nigeria. It is also the mindset that we must all adopt. Let us support each other in creating the Nigeria of our dreams. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
From the heart of the Federal Capital Territory
to the ancient city of Kano,
from the sprawling rooftops of Ibadan
to the bustling markets of Aba and the creeks of the Niger Delta, you really can't beat the reach.
Over the years, we have kept going, keeping you informed, educated, and entertained.
And how have we survived in the very challenging year?
Because of our pillars of support, namely the 3 tiers of government: ministries, departments, and agencies,
corporate bodies and advertisers,
religious bodies,
civil society groups,
political parties, and most importantly, you, our esteemed viewers. Together, we made 2021 great.
And together, we shall make 2022 greater.
Thank you from all of us here at NTA. Your season's greetings and a prosperous new year.
All right, welcome back. Let's quickly bring in Roland Chole Taguba into our conversation. I know you're a die-hard advocate of bundling the NRC, and you have consistently talked about it in the course of our conversation. Now, what will I say now? What economic advantage or value will that, bring to the whole railway modernization project?
Wow, that's a very interesting question that you ask. One, because the railway industry as it is currently structured is very introspective in the sense that the barriers to entry into the industry are high, and there's a monopoly public sector organization that controls everything. There are conflicts of interest as well as a result of its self-regulation. And so in unbundling, you're releasing so much energy that's currently bottled up. I don't know if that makes any sense. But something you need, and glaringly so, because experience across the world has shown so, is you need private sector entrepreneurial flair. That is very absent in government. Given the nature of government is about openness, and therefore you can't be that strategic in terms of competitivity. And you must be able to compete. It's as simple as that. If you can't compete, you die. And our railway has been dying for so many years, largely because it's not been able to compete with a very dynamic roads sector. At the beginning, the railways, I think, had a market share of about 60% when we, at independence. Today, it's less than 1% of the transport sector. It's lost entire because it's not been able to compete. And so in unbundling it, what you're doing is you're releasing so much energy and so much capacity. And a country of such long distances, of such huge populations, there's so much potential for economic activity that you really cannot keep the railways where it is at the moment. And so it's important that we break it up. And the breaking up is not necessarily because you want to take power away from the public sector. No, it's because we want to enable it to do a lot more. And the public sector would actually thrive better in railway with an unbundled NRC than it currently does. Because number one, you enable it to focus on where it has strengths. And that's in investment in infrastructure. And that's something the government has capacity to do. Leave the business decisions to businessmen, to entrepreneurs, to make those decisions about when to run trains, about what trains to run, and so on and so forth. Those decisions are currently being done by the public sector, and they're not doing it very well. That's why they lose market share. And then, importantly, it's about regulation. You can't regulate yourself in the current world we live in. It's just not done anymore. And it's one, and we can see it's happened in telecoms, it's happened in power. The moment you take the regulation to an independent body, you see more openness, you see more, a lot of the underhand tactics that are employed being dissipated. So unbundling is a very healthy thing to do and is necessary. The big shame is it's coming at the tail end of the political calendar. It was certainly something that should have been started much earlier. But as you said in the previous conversation, better late than never. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, thank you so much, Roland. Mani Ochogujo, let's hear more about this. It seems like the private sector has a great role to play, especially in sustaining this very feat achieved by the government, especially in the rail sector. Now, talk to us about, the private sector's involvement in transportation and how this could go some great way in trying to ensure the sustainability of this feat and even improving on them.
Thank you very much, Sambo. The involvement of private sector in Nigeria so far has been minimal, partly because take the maritime sector, for example, the capital required is intensive. It's high. And most of the local investors are few. The foreign investors, there have been very few also coming into the country to invest. The railway before now has been a monopoly. The unbundling that Roland is referring to would necessitate private participants in the sector as it is being unbundled. And as the railway industry is being allowed, opened up for other states, state participation, private participation, it will enable other investors to come in. Now, that will take a while until the unbundling is reasonably successful. There is, as we speak, an attempt ongoing now to review the law surrounding Nigerian Railway Corporation. I think there have been some proposals, Nigerian Railway Laws Act and bills. There are some proposals that looks at the unbundling, separating operation from regulation. All of that, it's being proposed. The law have not been passed. The minister is here, you can correct us. But to the best of my information, it has not been passed. But it is an ongoing conversation and a policy project of this regime. Even the previous regime talked about it, but this regime have been very, very, very keen in trying to open up the railway industry. Okay. And in the process too, they've allowed states who want to participate to come in. I know there are some states who are interested in setting up small railway lines and side links, and they are being encouraged. It all comes down to the minister giving permission. If you look at the Railway Act as it is presently, regardless of the monopoly, depending on the length of the railway line you're setting up, the minister can approve it. The minister approves it. You can work in collaboration with Nigerian Railway Corporation. But that's for railway. For waterways, the waterways are wide open. They are wide open. You can carry your barges. They will give you permit. You can carry cargo from One to Onitsha. You can carry cargo from One to Baru. Private sectors can invest. The barges are there. And Nigerian Ports Authority or NIWA can give you permit to invest.
Mr. Mani, we would like to catch up with our time. The time is running faster, slipping away from us. So we want to be very brief with our contribution. I'd like the Honourable Minister to also speak to us. Do we have updates on the proposed unbundling of the NLC?
In fact, the problem is not, well, yes, we need the law. The law is essential for you to go and do this. But without the law, we've made some steps, and the private sector didn't follow. There's a guy, a friend of mine, we are going to give that one day concession of Onitsha River Port. We met in Russia, Sochi, and he showed me a rail bus. A rail bus is beautiful. A rail bus is not, it's like a normal bus actually, but runs on the track. The engine is not as heavy as the normal locomotives and all that. And he says he wants to invest by bringing in his locomotives and coaches, including the rail box. And I said that would be the best. In fact, the rail bus will be better used between Lagos and Ibadan, and also between Kaduna and Abuja. You may not be able to make Kaduna to Kano, but if you're able to do Kaduna to Abuja, and all that, he has disappeared. Exactly, that's the point. So when you talk about this Nigerian private sector, I'm ready. I'm prepared to sit down tomorrow. The Minister of State is in charge of this unbundling thing. But I'm prepared to sit down with her and any other private sector person, including
Mr. Takuba.
Roland, yes. We can do it in 2 weeks and go to cabinet for approval. They should come and sit down with me. Let's articulate the documents, go to cabinet, get a temporary approval pending when the law is passed. Let's go ahead and see how many Nigerian private sectors, members of the private sector will
Honourable Minister, when you say disappeared, it sounded one kind, really, and you see all of us are laughing.
At the end of the conversation in Russia, I've not seen him again.
Yeah, I'm just trying
what do you call that one?
Let's connect that to, enabling environment.
What's the enabling environment? The track is there in Lagos, Ibadan. I'm the minister, and I'm prepared to ask
but the minister should be concerned that he didn't come back and try to find out.
No, the reason is capital. You have to buy the locomotives and coaches now. These are not cheap.
But since he has
I just told you here now, we're going to buy $2.9 billion worth of coaches and locomotives for Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, and part of Abuja, Kaduna, and Kaduna, Kano. $2.9 billion. $2.9 billion is 1.something trillion naira. So we have to have that private sector that has capacity to raise that kind of money. For us as federal government, it's easier to raise it because all the federal government needs to do is, okay, here is my sovereign thing, and they will give you a loan because they can always call it up. But for a private company, how will he raise that kind of money? So when I hear this, allow private sector into a railway, I'm willing to do it tomorrow morning. If you have the address of Roland, let him come. I will sit with him between.
He's smiling. We've heard.
The same with this national shipping line. Right. Enthusiastic young man, I want national shipping line. What the law say? 60% Nigerian, 40% foreign. We went to Singapore, got a foreign company that says tomorrow morning I'll bring the vessels. Nigeria, bring your 60%. They all disappeared. That's why we don't have a national shipping line. Unless you amend that law to say that foreigners can invest 100%. And there are so many foreigners that are willing to invest 100%. But they cannot because the law says 60% Nigerian investment, 40% foreign investment. No Nigerian has come up to today. A committee was set up 2016. The committee is almost moribund. So when we have private sector in this kind of things, let the private sector come forward. I am willing to do business with them tomorrow morning.
We cannot let go of this issue like this because we are Nigerians, we are in this country, and everything is for us. Whatever that can be done, especially by the government, in trying to see to it that we participate as Nigerians and then the environment is made better for us, is worth doing.
Whatever
so
you need
the laws,
the president
Mr.
is willing to approve. Can you come forward? Either it's NTO or you as a person, come forward.
I'm talking about the laws and then looking at the flexibility.
Well, I'm not the Senate president. Now am I the speaker of...
You could emanate from your office.
No, anyway. The bill is already before them. The bill was submitted under President Obasanjo.
That could be looked into again.
I'm not a member of the parliament.
Okay, let me take this question quickly, just in 60 seconds, Mr. Ochobogo. Dr. Paul Adaliku recently emerged as, I think, the Secretary General of the Maritime Organization of West and Central Africa. I saw the Minister of State for Transport, congratulating him and all that. But what does this mean in terms of maritime jurisdiction and our membership of the IMO?
Well, it opens up the opportunity for Nigerians to participate. It gives Nigerians a more maritime domain awareness, because it is an avenue which we have largely neglected. It opens up an opportunity for any changes that will affect our interests, like that insurance which the minister is referring to, whereby Nigerians is being referred to as a war zone. Having a Nigerian there will be one of the things that will also influence a resolution to be reviewed to our favor, whereby tariffs to Nigeria will be less, vessels coming to Nigeria will charge less. Those are opportunities for us to influence the changes that we require locally and within the Western Coast and the Western Central Coast, or the Gulf of Guinea, yes.
And of course, giving a true picture of the country outside as being not seen by others as the minister
it's
said.
good, it's good, it's
Minister,
good.
your last word quickly in 30 seconds.
Okay, I just want to go back to what Roland said.
But you have less than 30 seconds.
You're taking part of the 30 seconds if you just allow. Back to what Roland said, it's about sustainability. The Buhari, first is for him to say sustainability. It means that the Nigerians have started acknowledging the fact that in terms of infrastructure, Buhari, you cannot take away that from the Buhari's government. You can't. And then, so we must congratulate him. And to ask Nigerians to listen to what Roland said. A government that does not emanate from this government may not be able to maintain the legacy. So for sustainability,
then the Honourable Minister is going political.
He's going political, really.
You're going political. I was hoping that we will elicit a confirmation or on the Abuja-Kaduna extension, linking of the Abuja-Lokoja rail line. Maybe, okay.
Just because you're from Kogi, so you're looking for...
I'm not from Kogi.
Where are you from?
Honourable Minister.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm a Nigerian.
You're from Kogi? So you're asking... see, if we have money, I would want to be the minister that initiated and completed the linking of Nigeria. All I need is $36 billion. With $36 billion, all of them, the project from Itape to Abuja is $3.09 billion. If we have that, we'll start it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Transportation, Rotimi Chibuchi Amechi. It's a pleasure you've come with us along in this program. And congratulate you for the feat so far achieved and wish that 2022 is going to be better.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
The same to you.
Mani Ochoguju, it's a pleasure you've been part of us, as you've always been, and we hope to see more of you in the year 2022. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And finally, Roland Ocholu Atuguba, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Bethlehem, that is Royal. It's a pleasure. We thank you so much for being part of Good Morning Nigeria, this last episode of the year 2021. Hope you're going to be part of us in 2022. Well, we thank you so much too for being part of this, but still before we round up and let go the whole program, let's take a bit of the foreign scene.
Thousands of Sudanese demonstrators joined new protests Thursday against the army's October 25 coup, braving tear gas, the cutting of communication links, and a tight lockdown in the capital. Demonstrators reached within a few hundred meters of the presidential palace in Khartoum, headquarters of Military Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, before troops, police, and paramilitary units launched multi-tear gas canisters into the crowd. The Central Committee of Sudanese Doctors said 4 protesters were shot dead by security forces. The protests were the 11th day of major demonstrations since an October 25 coup, which saw Abdallah Hamdok removed and then reinstated as prime minister. The demonstrators have been demanding that the military play no role in government during a transition to free elections. Meanwhile, The number of daily new COVID-19 cases worldwide has crossed 1 million for the first time since infections were first recorded 2 years ago. New infections in the United States have soared to their highest level on record, largely driven by the highly contagious Omicron coronavirus variant. Australia also hit a new record on Thursday as it narrowed its definition of close contacts of coronavirus cases and relaxed requirements for COVID-19 tests in a bid to relieve pressure on testing sites. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization warned that the Omicron and Delta variants could produce a tsunami of COVID-19 cases that will put immense pressure on healthcare systems.
All right, this is Good Morning Nigeria. Let's check the entertainment scene now for more stories.